how I came about is really much a beautiful endeavor of love and being able to be present in this direct Octarian form, because I am an Octarian being in a hybrid human form, and being able to be boots on the ground on the planet, especially right now in a time of such deep, profound changes, shifts, and timeline movement. 2027 is the year of disclosure. This is it. The ETs are coming, and we say, interesting, we've been here for millennia. We are here with you in the now. We communicate with you since you were children. Your earth is covered with scripture and drawings of our presence. If you look at ancient Egypt, and it's all written all over the walls of the temples.
Welcome to the Reality Revolution. My guest today moves through the world as an ambassador between worlds. Viviane Chauvet describes herself as an Arcturian being in holographic human form, and for more than 15 years, she has carried that mission into thousands of healing sessions, into the founding of the Arcturian University, and onto stages across the planet. She's the creator of Arcturian Energy Matrix Healing, a modality that was seeded in the partnership with the Arcturian High Council. She speaks of a quantum codex written into our DNA, of timelines that can be cleared and realigned, and a new cosmic human now coming into form. It's a real honor to have her on today. Viviane, welcome to the Reality Revolution.
Thank you very much, Brian. It's a pleasure to be here with you.
Viviane, for the people that are new to that on my channel that do not know you, or they're first being introduced to you, tell us a little bit about your origin story, who you are, and what you do.
Yes, absolutely. So I do represent one of the most enlightened and very ancient intergalactic civilization known as the Arcturians. And so when the time came for us to reevaluate the potential of the Earth ascending or ascendancy timeline, we decided with the time council and the Arcturus High Council with our elders to send forth directly an ambassador in a way that I can retain the full spectrum of connection and interconnection as an Arcturian being, as opposed to being born into a planet or embodying a full human body. So how I came about is really much a beautiful endeavor of love and being able to be present in this direct Arcturian form, because I am an Arcturian being in a hybrid human form, and being able to be boots on the ground on the planet, especially right now in a time of such deep, profound changes, shifts, and timeline movement. And I've been very, very active, not only with the grids behind the scene, on and off planet, working with a multitude of star regency councils, galactic light forces, as well as the spiritual hierarchy council overseeing the Earth ascension timeline, but also with a lot of beautiful people, ancient soul, starseed, those of us who feel that we carrying the torch, so to speak, are this beautiful divine spark of a mission, and we come here to really reawaken a civilization known as the Earth humans to your highest, fullest potential, and let you know, hey, you're part of a huge galactic communities. You're part of a very evolving, very intelligent, very omnipotent multiverses, and we're here to help you reconnect with yourself in a benevolent way, and in loving and yet powerful, empowered, sovereign energies, and much more. So in a nutshell, this is who I am. I have always known who I was all my life, even as a child growing up. I've always been as an observer, understanding human behaviors, societal structures, the concept of time, like in a linear construct. This is very, unique here on the planet, because that construct is non-existent elsewhere. And being able to adapt and being able to learn, and how you communicate, whether it's social ethics and all of this. So I have learned and chose to come back, and right at the beginning of from childhood, growing up, going to school, and then later on in life, and in parallel, always from a standpoint of this galactic visitor, but an ambassador, we're here to to learn, to observe, experience, so I can understand better. You know what they said, when you wear somebody else's shoes, you understand their journey. You can embody truly what is it they're going through, what are the challenges, what is the markers, what is the stage of initiation, what is it that makes that journey so unique. There's nothing like experiencing it, which is why I chose to go through that route instead of retaining myself in my Arcturian original self or my avatar self and communicating with people directly on the planet in the form of channeling, dream state, astral connections, whether it's through ancestral lineage or a different form. I chose that to be here on the planet and allow me to have a vantage point. So then when I communicate and transmit all the data and the information and the frequency back to the councils, then there's a much more hands-on practical understanding of what really is happening on the planet. And I'm kind of a point of liaison between this world, this planet, and of course, a multitude of others sentient conscious civilizations who are understanding what's happening and having some of their people on the ground as star seeds or or different form of interaction. So my role is, I know I've always known it's very huge, it's immense. We're here to see this planet returning into our original celestial design, and there's so much movement in the multitude of the timelines right now and on a conscious planetary level. So I'm pretty much of this beautiful Octarian being when I'm here, boots on the ground, walking this journey with you all, and reminding each other how much that the more we are unifying each other, the more we're returning to each other, like it's a homecoming to one another, the more we are amplifying the acceleration of the conscious evolution. And this world has the power and the authority to reascend in a heartbeat if we allow it. And it's been an incredible journey for me to learn, discover, observe, feel, interact with many, many different forms of cultures, societies around the planet every day, whether with people we know, with your audience, for example, or, I've done multitude of interviews, conferences, retreat. I have done so many level of interaction, and we will continue.
So it's a little different than just channeling an Arcturian. You're an embodied holographic Arcturian living now with the full memory of your Arcturian past and experiences. Is that correct?
Indeed, and it's a great point. I like the way you bring it. So for us, there's no past, there's no present or future. I am the embodiment of all that I am as a very, very ancient and already ascendant galactic being, with the understanding that a fragment of myself is experiencing right now this life on a planet known as Earth or Terra or Mother Terra. And I'm here in this very specialized hybrid human form that was engineered by the great masteries of the Octarians, the Andromedans, and others to allow me to be on the planet. Because, Brian, without this physical vessel that was adapted for me, it would be impossible for me to remain on the planet. This way, the toxicity of the duality energy, the heaviness, the density of this planet, it really vibrates at such a lower level. The frequencies, discrepancy with my original state, it will be impossible to reconcile. It will be like throwing you in the middle of the ocean and letting you going in the bottom of the ocean. Your body will be crushed. You're not designed physically to sustain that kind of pressure. So it would be impossible for us or for any Arcturian, because we're more light substance being, to be in that physicality. So the only way to do it is to say, what can we do to create a vessel that will allow me to, or a fractal of myself can remain on the planet and so many years, because I've been here for so long, and sustain the changes, the push, the frequency, the movement, the mental energy that people are generating on a daily basis, the emotional component. That's really lots of energy counterbalance, plus the consciousness on the planet and other sentient life form. It's super bombarding for me with, energy, frequencies, thought forms, intentions, and all this kind of movement. Imagining yourself exposing yourself to, I don't know, hundreds of radio tower all at once broadcasting, and you are navigating through these waves of energy coming your way. You really need to know how to counterbalance that and to keep your body in alignment, and especially your nervous system. So there was a way for us to send one of our own in such a pure conscious way, but without compromising the vessel. So this is why I chose to return to the planet directly as an assigned ambassador for the planet and the solar system, and being able to retain perfect my link to the Octarian overall global conscious energy, because Octarians, we are linked to each other all the time. We are one of the same and many all at once. And we have this capacity to really extend ourselves infinitely in and out through each other. It's something that is unknown here on the planet just yet. So I am still in that perfect symbiotic connection only with my original self, but the entire collective of the Arcturians, which allow me to do the same with other species, like the Andromedans, for example. I can communicate to an aspect of them, or whether it's the High Syrian Council or the Antarians or others.
So could you share your memories of Arcturus? What you can remember of the planet Arcturus, and what we in linear time would be our past or your
Are you
past.
You mean talking about, again, past doesn't exist.
Well, yeah,
We
I
exist
understand
in a
that, but
parallel system with
the
you. We exist.
evolution of Arcturus, could you share some of your experiences with Arcturus embodied in an Arcturian body, and what maybe if it's not the past, but in this present moment at some other different location, if you could explain that, I'd love to get your thoughts, or because you're connected to it and it's more vivid, those memories.
Of course, I'd be happy to, but I would like to clarify what is your intention or what is the question. It's not clear to me, Brian. Can you
I just want to
rephrase for
know
me?
more about Arcturus, like what it's like to live there, what the world or planet is like, what they've been through to get to the point that they're at now, and what your
Yes,
memories are of that as one of those beings that has access to those memories.
indeed. So it's a beautiful multi-layer question. For one thing, we want to clarify is that our realm is very much a parallel system to yours. We have a central star with 12 planetary orbits that is known as the perfect 13, because our realm or our system is complete unification. So what you refer to Arcturus is not a planet, is the central star within our system. And each of the planetary orbits around that star, we are an expansion. It's pretty much an expansion of the Octarian nation to each of these beautiful planetary orbit. So because we are millions of years old, our history come from a long, long time ago. So like any species, we do have a beginning. And one of the early stages memories that are retained from our realm, which is a realm of ecstasy, harmonic energy. The color frequency, the light spectrum is beyond what your capacity of perceiving. It's such and beautiful. It will be super, super bright to you in comparison to here. For one thing, in terms of light spectrum, there's beautiful, almost like melodic tones that come from the creational universal creational energy that comes to our realm, and that energy also feed our soul. This is also how we rejuvenate, how we are constantly in this harmonic connections with the supreme source infinite. And there's a shared vibrational expansion of who we are as being. It's extremely difficult for us to express who we are compared to a world or a mentality or a mental mind that is really comprehending structures and laws and time as past, present, future, and in a such of a physicality. We exist beyond that realm. We're coming completely from a different parallel of existence, and we have learned from mistake. One of the greatest, I would say, the greatest lesson we have learned over thousands and thousands of years in how precious life is. Reverence for all life, reverence for a planet. And whether it's a brand new born planet that comes into existence carrying the blueprint of a future civilizations, whether it's already an established star system, it's never to temper with the natural law of evolution of either a planet or a civilization. And we have seen too many times throughout the great galactic archive or history the ripple effect of, how could I say, tempering with the acceleration of evolution of a species, whether it's through technology, without a consciousness to assist it, for example, or introducing too much advanced concept, whether it's on a physics level, mathematical, quantum level, and all of it. If a species is not ready to understand these concepts and how they really work and the ripple effect, it can lead to a species destruction or a de-evolution. And we have seen that a lot throughout many, many years, many thousands of years, and millennia of history. Closer to home here in the solar system, so many souls remember the destruction of the planet Malta and the ripple effect of it. We're still, to this day, Brian, Arcturians, we're still helping souls to heal and from the trauma of that one planet destructions, whether it was the downfall of Lyra and the invasion of Draco, whether it's the electrical war, whether it's Orion invasion, and there's so many examples, but all of it to see that for us as a very advanced species is the reverence of life. This is why our role as Arcturian is never to interfere in the natural organic evolution of a system, a species, or even a group of individuals, but rather the guidance, the support that will allow that group or that species to evolve in a more natural way, whether to force an acceleration. And after time, what happens is that when it's a forced evolution, then the soul have not really learned the blueprint of the lessons or the karmic lessons that they come to learn, and they become disassociated from the ecosystem of the planet they're on. And that can lead naturally to either, again, a de-evolution, a destruction, or the planet cease to exist. And this is something for us that we have learned a long time ago, to honor and to be able to be mindful of how much we provide, how much assistance we give, at what measurement it is ready to be received, for what intention, and what will be the potential ripple effect in the timeline of that species. Like for right now with human beings, we're supporting your ascension, but without interfering into your natural evolution. That's different.
You, in some of your teachings, you described 2007 as this year that we went through a change, a complete biological and energetic retemplating, where our neural pathways and nervous system and body template itself was shifted. Can you tell me more about that?
Yes. So that was for my point of evolution. So within my own timeline, 2007 was a very important point in my timeline on the journey. So when I moved from Canada to Arizona within the ancient grids of the desert here in Arizona, this is why I went through a major metamorphosis to help me getting ready for the next phase of my ambassadorial role. And that included major upgrade of brain pathways, nervous systems, the new template that was coming in. And it really, I still remember back in 2007, these huge changes I went through, but that was within my, again, within my soul timeline. It was in preparation for the next phase of the global timeline changes, but my group had to prepare me first. And that's why I personally went through that in 2007. It's part of my
You,
biography. This is why I
it's
can tell
yeah,
you.
yeah. I thought it was super interesting. So,
Thank you.
you do something called timeline healing, where you enter into the timeline of your clients. Can you talk to me about the dynamics of how timelines work and how we can heal timelines and exactly what's going on there?
Indeed, a great question again, Brian. So timeline, it can be known as alternative realities. So for us, when we introduce a concept of timeline, is to help to reawaken the multidimensionality of your awareness, so to step into more multidimensional identity. So think of it this way. I'll give you an example. Just this planet alone, Gaia, has a multitude of alternative realities or timeline, each timeline as a potential of when a future evolution or events or template will come into place. And we know that we have a multitude of templates and multitude of blueprints depending on what timeline you've been experiencing on. So when we look at different point in space and time, and we can see a multitude of these points all at once unfolding, we can see what potential of alignment a planet or a solar system or a movement of a quadrant will go into. So for Gaia, for example, this Earth, there was a time when there was a lot of talk among the spiritual and even the extraterrestrial communities. Then we talk about a potential disaster, nuclear disaster, or implosion of the planet, or the planet destructions. What we did, the Octarians and others, we consulted with each other and to the galactic light forces, and we said, can we help to support avoiding that timeline to be the strongest and highest potential? And so there was some intervention done in that sense, in a way that that timeline will be simply averted. And so that timeline of Earth being destroyed is no longer active. This is part of the reason why humanity has gone through such a huge quantum leap of evolution consciously over the last 6-10 years, because that timeline was completely averted. We can still see that timeline as a once upon a time a potential, but it's no longer in alignment with it. It is the same thing with your past life. Think of it this way. You are one individual. You say, my name is Brian. This is my journey. This is what I've been doing. This is who I communicate with. But at the same time, all these other timeline of you or alternative reality or multidimensional selves are still coexisting with you. You simply either in or out of alignment or resonance with these other known and unknown timeline. For example, you may have been an engineer in the time of Atlantis. You may have been a commander for, let's say, the Syrian fleet at the time of, I don't know, the electrical war. Or you may have been part of the architectural or engineer groups with the founder races who brought forward the project in the solar system to construct a planet that will sustain such a diversity of life template. But all these possibility of you coexist in your field now. You're simply not aware of it. You have no memory of it. So imagining one individual with so many timelines or alternate reality coexisting with you. Well, it's the same thing with the planet. With the Earth, for example, the Earth in her original celestial blueprint, that part of herself still exists, but it's been pushed out of resonance alignment because she's more descended into a third dimensional construct. And this is where most people are focusing their energy on. But the other aspect of herself is still exists. So what we do is we're nurturing and we are providing the light codes and the proper frequencies to stimulate the higher timeline where the planet, the Earth, is going to move naturally and organically into what's called the ascending time cycle. That means that the planet is releasing herself from a counterpart identity known as the 3D Earth, with pollution and duality and, physicality and linear and all these constructs. She's shifting out of resonance with that timeline of reality, and she's moving into that more organic, higher, reascending timeline. The same thing with the ancient civilizations. Now we talk about ancient Egypt. Well, ancient Egypt and the golden age of Egypt still exists. It has simply been pushed out of alignment because what we know today is more the 3D faction of Egypt version of it that we know today. But that golden age is still there, like Atlantis or Lemuria or the empire of, the time of Persia or Sumeria and all of this civilization. Everything coexists with you. This is what we call stepping into a more expanded multidimensional awareness. When you start to tune in to all of these timeline or alternative realities that coexist with you in the now.
Can you speak on the concept of genetic consciousness, something else that you teach? It's a codex of galactic ancestry that's in our DNA.
So what you're talking about is, from a quantum perspective, we're looking at the evolving consciousness of your DNA template that is actually made of pure light. So where we're seeing is that you're moving out again, go back to the timeline, you're shifting out of the descending or the descended contracted version of the human template or the manipulated template of the human race down to one double helix, and you're starting to realign yourself with the understanding on the quantum and conscious level that your DNA is a living template or a codex of energy, of light encoding, and you start to feel and recognize that all this junk DNA, so to speak, has been labeled. It's really much living consciousness and living knowledge. And as you start to realign, and that template is becoming part of the new design, what we call the new advanced conscious human design. And we do create a masterclass series around it. We talk about way in different semantics that allow people to maybe connect more with it and feel a bit more digestible and accessible. For us, it's not about the wording, it's the frequency beyond the language that is really important for us, because we speak the language of frequencies. So when we talk about the living template of your DNA, even from a quantum perspective, it's what is reconnecting you also with the template or the living template of your evolving human body. You start to be a little bit higher in frequency, less dense, you start to vibrate a bit higher, and everything within you is starting to shift in the same resonance as your DNA memory field, the blueprint of it, the quantum aspect, the light codes, the codons, everything starts to shift and reawaken. This is why, in a very simple way, Brian, it's so important for everyone to cultivate that energy of benevolence, connections to yourself, to feel, am I living in energy? Am I living in symbiotic connection with my inner ecosystem within myself, as well as the ecosystem of the planet? Am I living as a conscious guardian and planetary leader for this world? Or am I still so much caught up into the entertainment factor of my 3D logic personality mind? And it's all interconnected. All of it is fueled by the evolution of your consciousness. This is why we are very keen at teaching and talking about that multidimensional awareness. It tuning in with love, benevolence, acceptance, self-worth, the three master keys, foundational keys of the self-love, self-worth, self-acceptance. And you accept all that you are. You're stepping into the entirety of your being. From there, we can talk about the most ancient archive and knowledge of the universe, because you'll be able to have the capacity to really embody what that knowledge is about, as opposed to overly feeding your mind. I hope that makes sense that way.
Totally, it makes sense to me. Yeah.
Thank you.
Uh, we're moving towards an evolution in consciousness. You call it the new
Yes.
cosmic human. That's a phrase that you've returned to. So, can you tell us what that is? What is the new cosmic human?
Yes, the new cosmic, I would say the new cosmic conscious human being, it's a grand return to the original self. Human being, if you look at the template or just the original template from the Lyran High Council, and they are the guardian of the original humanoid DNA template, human beings were designed as a race of peaceful, solvent, and very empowered multidimensional being, guardian of this heathen known as the earth. You were never designed to live in a fearful energy that we see so much. Doubt, separation, fearful energy, not knowing who you are, amnesic beings. You were never designed to be that way. You were never designed to feel like you are slave to an authority, or you have to obey in order to feel loved and rewarded. And all of these concepts that came in later on with the manipulation from other species. And that's why what we're saying is the cosmic human being is that universal intelligent being that you are, and you understanding that you are part living with the universal laws of the universe, and no being in this multiverse is above it, above the natural laws. It's this profound reconnection with the most source energy of your being, instead of living through the fragmentation of personalities built from upbringing, influenced by cultural background, societal, 3D expectations, genetic memories, whether it's from your ancestors, and especially the programming on education, false history, whether it's the wound of your father, mother, grandfather, grandmother, push out onto you and became part of your personality, and your subconscious is playing that from its archives. So instead of being a fragment of yourself, the conscious human being is returning to embracing and embodying the entirety of itself. Now imagine what you're going to be doing. Self-healing, spontaneous healing, telepathic communication, telekinesis, being able to project yourself effectively anywhere within the quantum field at any point through your light body consciousness, being able to be in symbiotic relationship with one another. Your communication field will become much more universal. There's a change going on in your throat chakra configuration in relation also to your pineal gland, that pine cone of crystalline archive connecting to your nervous system. It's like the human beings overall, you understand the least about yourself. Other galactic beings, we understand you more than you understand your own self. And that's all part of the reawakening, the return of re-embracing what the true conscious, intelligent human beings are about. You are an aspect of your future self. And that is unfolding every day, every moment of your life. And I hope that resonates in your heart with what you're saying right now.
Yeah. So, yeah, let's talk about the concept of the future self, something that
Yes.
I felt myself naturally teaching and seeking and meditating upon, that we can connect to different aspects of ourself in the future, or probabilities in the future. Can you tell us what you know about that, and in what ways can we facilitate connections to our future self?
Yes, one of the things, again, when we talk about a three master key, this is much more than a spiritual platitude. When you love yourself profoundly and you accept your 3D journey self, you accept your human journey, and you're really working and elevating, breathing and co-creating from a point of, I know my self-worth and I accept myself as I am, as I accept, then I also have these counter aspect of myself. When you start to living this way and you're entering into these very conscious meditative journey that open up not only the higher brain functions or the pathways of your higher brain function that connects you on a universal level, but you also start to practicing the sacred art of connecting consciously with any aspect of yourself in any multidimensional timeline. So you want to know what a future aspect of yourself, let's just say from the perspective of being an Atlantean engineer or healer or member of a council, you can ask that I wish to connect that part of myself consciously. For what intention? Are you vibrationally in alignment with yourself? And if there is any trace of fear, doubt, or inner rejection with yourself, what I call an inner paradox, it's blocking the way. You're going maybe to have an experience, you're going to feel like, I don't understand that experience. What just happened to me? Or it may create what I see a lot, Brian, is a disconnect between the conscious self and a higher part of themselves. That part of you knows you can have access to anything, any portion of you, anytime. But if there is a discrepancy in between, then a higher part of you will return, but it will be simply pushed into your super consciousness. And from a conscious treaty perspective, you would say, well, I did what you said. It didn't work for me. Or I got somewhere, I black out, or I fell asleep and I don't remember anything. And we always say, interesting, dear ones. Because when you say that you're falling asleep, is the 3D logic mind got disconnected. So your body was in complete rejuvenation state. And it's a higher aspect of you that took it over. Either simply there's no language or there's no communication to bridge the higher part of you, which travels every night, anywhere, to any dimension, any portal, any places you want to go. But that part of you here will reject it, or simply they will push again into the consciousness or the super consciousness, and you will have no memory of it. So when you're cultivating how you live yourself every day, are you a conscious co-creator? Are you contributing to the advancement, or are you contributing what I call a sideway contribution in the linear ways through what is the next video, what is going on TikTok, what's going on Facebook? Next, you disconnect and then you're off to something else, then you learn nothing from it. It's an empty vessel. So what you feed into yourself will reflect in the quality of what this future aspect of your own self, or as your own ancestors, may want to teach you into your now. But remember that ultimately, this lifetime, Brian, is your most important one. You need to stay focused on this lifetime and ask, why do I want to connect with the future aspect of myself? Because that's already existed. It's already done. That future part of you already is. What is the intention? What is the connection? What is it you want to bring, and how are you going to utilize that knowledge, that information, that memory, or that connection for? And those are really profound way. Think of it as a protocol, an easy and yet very empowered protocol to understand what is my capacity, because ultimately, you want to know, you want access to everything, it's to your heart center. This is the ultimate portal to the universe. Your heart center, between your thymus chakra and your heart center, the higher center part, this is your conscious portal. You invite what needs to come in, but again, you need to be in sacred divine alignment with yourself. If you are living in a divided house or in a paradox house with yourself, and you're asking your future aspect to come through, that future part of you will look at it and say, well, you're not in alignment, you're not ready, there's no place for that fragment of yourself to return to you. So it will remain for now in what seems to be in a future timeline. And I hope that makes sense. But it's important to recognize it's not about getting there and getting the answer, it's how you get there. The protocol, the journey is as important as how you bring these answers back to you, and then for going deep into the reawakening of your soul memories. And ultimately, that is the goal, is to get you out of this amnesic, temporary, veiled, not knowing who you are and having speculation about yourself, but rather to really go deeper within your being and say, I reopen with confidence, with love, with benevolence, strength, and healing, the ultimate portal, the universal portal within my being. And from there, you can invite any being that you want to connect with. It's available. That's the beauty of it. It's available to you.
So there's different future selves. There's obviously different in the multiversal aspect,
Yes.
different future selves that we can connect with. So is there
Yes.
ways for us to connect to a specific future self, maybe the one that has become more deepened and aligned, and then receive downloads from that particular future self?
Yes, there is. I have personally connected with an aspect of humanity just about 400 years in what you call your future part, the future part of this species. That future aspect of humanity already exists. It's simply not in alignment with it just yet. So, for example, for you, you can ask that aspect or that fractal of my future self in this lifetime. I want to connect with that part of myself, but again, be clear about your intention. What is it you want to know, to learn, and integrate from that future part of you? It is still you, but to your perspective, it's in a future. That future already exists because there's no time. So again, be clear about what is it you want, because your intentional field vibrate and connect to your core frequency. So if your core frequency is pure, aligned, and very in alignment with that future part of you, the connection will take place. Now, are you receptive to receive that? That's another part of the equation. At the same time, is your core frequency has some distortion, or your 3D logic mind is tend to filter everything out for you out of control in a sense of being safe? Well, your future part of you understand that about its past aspect of itself, and therefore the answer will still be provided, but it might be a little bit more subtle that you realize, or it may be in a dream state, or it may be it's something passing through you. It may not be recognized. So practicing with clarity, focal, in alignment, in terms of I invite an aspect of myself. I need help, for example, opening my third eye, opening a gateway to myself, understanding some part of my soul design. I need support, clarification, I need discernment. What is it you need and what for? And you can do it. It's available.
So you say that we're becoming more multidimensionally aware. Can you talk about that? We because of the energies that we're experiencing, we have a greater awareness of our multidimensional aspects.
Yes, the more you're opening that natural, how could I say that? That natural understanding and acceptance, there's more to you than this personality and this life and this physical body. If you, for example, have you ever traveled to a place where there's a sense of familiarity, déjà vu? There's a place of déjà vu. I've been here. I'm drawn to this culture. I'm drawn to this food. I'm drawn to the land. Something is invoking energy. I was talking to one of my beautiful members of the Arcturian University today, and
Hmm.
she was confiding in me that she's in England, but traveling to the ancient grid of Arizona brought to the surface a sensation of being a Navarro or part of one of the indigenous tribe in a distant past life, but that energy was coming back to her in her lifetime now, because it's something that she needs to reconcile, reconnect with, acknowledge at the soul level, and all of the knowledge, the experience, the memories that needs to retain in her lifetime can be drawn from that memory of being part of one of the indigenous tribes of Arizona, for example. And so in that sense, when we travel or you, I don't know, visit ancient sites or you go to see a castle, ruins, scriptures, or something, an experience that comes to you, it will naturally evoke or awaken an ancient echo of what seems to be a past aspect of yourself. But have you thought that maybe a future aspect of you calling, guiding you, supporting you? It can be also answering a deep heart answer, something you put out there a long time ago or something that crossed your mind. And that thought form was so important, so empowered with desire, intention, clarity, and motion that the answer comes when you get that memory or that sensation of, I don't know, I've been there. I feel I'm part of it. I'm drawn to the Lyrians. I'm drawn to the land with Mary Magdalene. I'm drawn to what, listen to that. Is it an echo of your soul Akashic records coming to the surface today to help you with this lifetime? And it can be a past aspect, an out parallel aspect of yourself. It can be a future aspect of yourself. But again, is what is it that you're ready to do with that knowledge? Do you have the conscious recognition? Are you listening? Are you being receptive to it? Otherwise, it'll come back again like a bee going around you and you go, oh, that was nice. And you move forward. So cultivate, utilize meditation as a practice tool. It also creates a vibrational alignment in your body systems. And it opened the portal, the universal portal, and opening your higher mental faculties. And once in alignment, you can really project yourself or invite in your field an aspect of you from even from this lifetime, if you need to. Everything is an opportunity to awaken, to remember, to embody everything. So again, we call that stepping into a multidimensional state of awareness.
Can you look out into maybe the next 6 months, or give us an idea of what's sort of going on right now energetically, and what we can assume to see over the next 6 months?
Well, there's no projection. It's simply a potential.
Right,
Because
of
over
course.
the next 6 months, from your linear standpoint, it greatly depends on what is it globally most of the people on the planet are focusing on. I'll give you an example of that. Just recently, Steven Spielberg released a movie called A Disclosure Day, right? A lot of people, or even spiritual teacher, channelers, all of it, even the most popular ones, talk about a lot about the year 2027. But may we lovingly remind you from a very advanced and holographic perspective that the year 2027 is already here. So if you look at a movie like Steven Spielberg, A Disclosure Day, and everything it entitles from a movie perspective, it shows you a multitude of events that have already taken place, whether it's the Roswell crash in 1947, whether it's the nuclear, war, whether it's, people awakening to light language, whether it's COVID or the pandemic, from 6 years ago that created a huge acceleration on the planet, whether it's a multitude a point in time or moment in time that combine together create a movie called Disclosure. You've been in disclosure you've been in disclosure for millennia. Okay, so if you look at just vibrationally from a potential perspective, just in the next 6 months alone, everything is such an acceleration, Brian, that you have to realize is what the question we have for all of you is, what is it over the next 6 months or so that globally most of the population will focus upon? Because that's become quantum entanglement. And that means that whatever you focus on the most, that's what's going to manifest a lot faster in the manifestation field than anything else. So we can give you our perspective, but what we are eager to see is, will most of the human beings who are in the stage of reawakening, embracing their star origin, embracing the earth origin, embracing themselves again as multidimensional being as opposed to linear logic being, well, then you have the power within your own hands to give us the potential of what the next 6 months would look like to you. But we can see the potential of where this is going. So releasing yourself from anchor in time, like, oh, 2027 is the year of disclosure. This is it. The ETs are coming. And we say, interesting, we've been here for millennia. We're here with you in the now. We communicate with you since you were children. Your earth is covered with scripture and drawings of our presence. If you look at ancient Egypt, and it's all written all over the walls of the temples. So why does it make it 2027? Because when people, or thousands of people, magnetize that potential, then of course that potential becomes the most level of manifested reality. So what we say is that in your moment in the now, in each breath, each moment into your now creates your future. This is where we want to bring you back to, as opposed to opening the fabric of space and time and looking at the potential, and you would say, okay, I saw something happening, and 6 months later something else happened, and you turn and you said, well, you said that will happen. Nobody can predict that way anymore. Everything is in great fluctuation, and it all depends on where and how this population will come back to. If you're still maintaining the games of the 3D, well, you may still steal the 3D games 6 months from now. It really depends on your receptivity and what is it you're going to magnify and focus upon. So disclosure, as I go back to it as an example, realize that it's unfolding now right in front of you. You don't need to wait for a linear year or a projection into the 5 next year to tell you that the ET consciousness is going to connect with you when we communicate with you on a daily basis.
Your
And besides,
recent,
I'm
yeah.
sorry.
No, I'm sorry. Keep going. Did you have more to say?
Very quickly, I was just simply observing that besides, we're not really in 2026. It's just a linear way of
True.
quantifying time. It's an illusion. So
It's an illusion, absolutely. Um, from your perspective, when we're talking about looking into the future and the past and that kind of thing, um, is there something that we can do as we move into the future to shift our attention? What are things that we can do, practical methods that we can use in this shift?
yes, and I'm so happy you're asking this question, Brian. That really ties up very much into what we've been sharing with you in terms of what can we do now? For example, every day, the moment you wake up, what vibrational state are you in? What's on your mind the most? What seems to preoccupy you? Where are you investing your inner universal peace, which is one of your most precious gifts? Where is your heart invested? Are you being pulled into the string of your heart? Is the sacred universal portal within you designed since your inception closed down out of fear of being hurt, manipulated, deceived, let down? Or is your heart strong, open, with strength, curiosity, with conscious energy? Are you asking every day, how can I be of service to this planet today? How can I be of service to the light? How can I contribute as boots on the ground to support the work of the galactic light forces? What can I do today to be this powerful anchor of light? How can I be more and more a planetary leader? And there's no need to be a president or a prime minister or be part of a military faction. You are this powerful aspect of the new frequencies of the next new earth. You are the embodiment of the potential of your future self already. It is already encoded in the codex of your DNA. It is already encoded in the blueprint of your soul design that you reincarnate in. Now, your soul, we've come to learn restriction of time, learn karmic relationship, learn to clear maybe some past life unfinished business, or to help to clear the unresolved energies or issue of your genetic lineage you were born in or your ancestors. When your soul has gone through all of it, the next level of question we really would invite you to cultivate is, how can I be a powerful sovereign being today and contribute to generate the next stable frequencies on the planet that stabilize the Schumann resonance of the Earth, that stabilize the grid system, that help to release the paradox or the old historical loops still playing out in the field. For example, let's move out of the World War II paradigm, please. Let's stop to nurture that, to maintain a sense of victimhood, to maintain a sense of, we have to honor that World War II timeline. We have to move beyond these kind of example of traumatic loops, as we call them, or historical loops that play out and may maintain into the conscious planetary field of this planet. So every day, as you step into a new day, that moment in time given to you, think of it this way. Every morning you wake up, that moment, it's a portion of infinity. What will you do with that portion of infinity? How will you utilize that time given to you? And if you just in a 3D loop, hoping for something else to happen, with 6 months down the road, we will give the same answer as we're giving today until you understand. Oh, my kitty is there you go. My beautiful, I have a Bengal girl. She's a
Mine's meowing
RC.
outside, so
Oh, okay.
yeah.
I don't dare closing your door on my girl. Oh la la. No, no, no,
So
no. There's no closing
if I
doors.
close the door, then she'll want to get out and halfway through, and so she'll
Oh,
meow me
see,
in.
there we go. I
Right.
apologize,
No,
everyone. I
no,
don't
no
know.
apologies. I love it. So, you did some recent grid work at Uluru with the etheric elders and the original Pleiadian builders, and you reawakened an ancient portal. Can you tell me more about that?
With of course, with pleasure. Actually, most recently we were in Nepal. We were in Lumbini, right at the birthplace of Buddha, working in the very ancient, I would say, Buddhic grid energy there in Nepal and throughout the entire countryside, with the presence of the mountain, the guardians of mountains, and beautiful Buddhist monks from all over the world, including Taiwan. And yet, about 2 years ago, we were in Uluru, and it was such an empowered revelation in terms of the next, I would say, the next multidimensional blueprint returning to the planet. And Uluru represent, of course, generations of aboriginal guardianship, oral traditions. They understand the polarity in terms of, they speak of the time of the great enlightened ones coming from the Seven Sisters, coming to the planet and creating this portal, this crystalline gateway, while at the same time other faction in the form of serpents and other form of distortion came as an attempt to destroy the crystalline portal. And it's all part of their oral traditions. And of course, they were referenced to, the draconians, the reptilians. Interference has been around for such a long time. And I've seen with my own eyes, Brian, Uluru as a mountain, and some of the face of the mountain, you can tell it looks like laser cannon wound, like really big impact, almost like the when the moon is being impacted by asteroid and it creates craters and impact the moon. Well, it's something similar. You can tell that there was a long time ago galactic war claiming territory over Uluru because of the potential it represented. And you can see these laser weapon markings still on the face of Uluru, but it's ironically that portion of the mountain is called the forbidden side. Why is it forbidden? There's nothing forbidden about it. It's about, that's another form of disclosure. It's about realizing that there have been faction who wants to claim territory and ownership of the planet, feed upon your energy, want to destroy the work of the galactic light forces, what we do, what we implement it. And we've been battling them for a long time. And Uluru, that part of that history, it's part of the oral transition, not transition, my apology, the oral tradition of the Aboriginal tribe. They talk about it in their own understanding way, their own perspective way. And I've seen it with my own eyes, like, oh, these are laser weapon that was fired upon the mountain as an attempt to destroy the Pleiadian original crystalline portal. It's still there. It's got activate. It is activate, actually. And I've seen it. But it's interesting to see how much part of a history of your planet still labeled to this day as hidden or forbidden.
Is the portal something you can travel through, or is it putting out energy? How does it work?
Yes, actually, it's all of the above. So I'll give you an example of it. There was a group of us, and as we entering what's called the Mala Walk, okay, when you enter the site of Uluru, you enter as a conscious being, and the way you present yourself is important. So I was teaching and guiding the group to say, let's take a deep breath, let's harmonize our intention, let's clear your pathway, clear expectation of the mind, and we're going to introduce ourselves as we walk what's called the Mala Walk, as emissaries of light. And as we were walking onto the side, entering the walk, leading around the sideway and the kind of the side of the mountain, we have two guardians, two great portal that stopped our group, and they asked me, they said, little hybrid, you are an ambassador. I said, yes, I present myself on behalf of the great Octarian delegation. He said, yes, we know who you are. But this group, who are they? And I turned to the group and I said, the guardians are asking us, who are we? And then all of us together in our heart, we say, we are emissaries of light. We've come here to support the reawakening of the portal for the ascension of humanity. And we were allowed in. But for those who may travel there just for taking a walk or for the beauty of the place, taking pictures, if allowed, and to do some hikes and all of it, they may go through past the guardians unconsciously without realizing that the guardians were communicating with them. And I've seen that. But because of who I am, I can communicate with different form of sentient being and consciousness. So when we pass the guardians, there was a portion as we enter the walk where almost like a concave crevasse within the mountain, it looks like an inner cave. So we went inside of that cavern, so to speak, and we gather around, and I put my hands right on the rock because we were in a section of the mountain that we were allowed to do so. So we went in and I put my hand and I invoke on behalf of all that I am, universal consciousness, with my Arcturian self. I merge into consciousness with my Arcturian self. I can feel the vibratory state of the rock became very, very high. I can feel that the mountain were vibrating higher and higher. So what it means, Brian, it means that the molecular density of the rock was shifting. And that means that it no longer appears solid. It was almost like a Have you seen the series Stargate SG-1 where they go through the portal?
Right.
Well, it almost looks like it. Almost like this,
Mhm.
watery plasma light. You can almost put your hands through it. That's exactly what happened. And I physically experienced both my hands going inside the rock, through the rocks. And I was told by the guardians, because there's a council protecting the portal within the Uluru template. You're welcome to pass through the gateway. We'll allow you in. But because I was part of the leader of a group, I felt responsible for others, and I take my role very seriously. I said, I will just let my hands almost up to my elbow in, and I will let my physical body on the ground so I can still see and show everybody I'm here for them and I'm grounding that experience for everybody. I didn't want to leave the group, so I
Yeah.
chose not to go through the portal. If it was just my husband and I may have gone
May have
through.
been tempting, right?
Very, very tempting, let me tell you.
Yeah, yeah,
Very
I can
tempting.
imagine.
But when I came back, the immense joy that I felt, I turned around and declared to the group, it is done. We have made it. There's enough conscious reawakening, return to the planet. The portal is awake. It is done. And everybody going, oh, what you talking about? And I explained that. And many of us felt that molecular density shifting as if the mountain or the facade of the mountain was vibrating, humming with a very specific tone, like a humming that changed the molecular density of the rock itself. And I knew, and what was beautiful is I saw elders from previous Aboriginal tribes who pass on Brian. They're no longer in their physicality, they pass on and they're still there as guardians. And I remember seeing one very familiar face there. You may have known him, beautiful, from an elder from the Zuni nation, and Cliff Mahudi. He was very well known. I saw him there in his light body, his light form, because he passed on from this physical world. He's no longer here physically, but he's very, very active in his role. And I know because we work with him, and he was there. I saw Clifford Mahudi there as an elder of the Zuni nation, working with the Pleiadians, architects, and the other guardians there. This ancient Pleiadian portal was brought onto the planet millions of years ago. But again, millions of years ago, according to your linear past, was already representing the future aspect of yourself into your now. This is why there's no time. This is why being multidimensional being is so natural. This is your natural state.
Yeah.
It
Uh,
really is.
you've done a lot of work in Sedona and working with those different vortexes. Can you tell about the difference with the vortexes and portals? What's going on in Sedona when you go to those vortexes? What are you experiencing there?
Yes, great question. So Sedona, it's a very multi-grid system. And Sedona, there's also an etheric template or temple that overseeing Sedona. And there's all these beautiful etheric temples that oversees many different points on the planet. So Sedona, being a multi-frequency grid system, you have very positive grids and you have also reverse negative grid. So some of the positive grid, like for example, around Bell Rock, well, Bell Rock, Arcturians, we utilize this etheric portal to come in and out and to connect to the planet. It's one of the entry points for us on the planet. So when I go to Sedona, my husband knows about it. He always has to bring me to Bell Rock because when I go there, I can feel even more. It's amplified for me. My octane frequencies are being magnified and amplified because we do have an etheric portal that we utilize to connect to the planet. Well, on the other end, there are other portal, come for example, anything around Boynton Canyon. This is a reverse portal system put in place by the reptilians. And so when I go there, I can feel and hear the reptilian group talking to me and telling me, oh, Arcturian, what are you doing within our portal? And I said, well, I'm here as an harmonizer. I'm a galactic activator. I'm here to as a paradigm, shift. Why don't you just join us instead of, counteracting what we do? But some do, others don't. And if you go a little bit further down, there's also a very ancient portal for the ancient civilization known as the Ant people. They're very, very close to the Aboriginal tribe. It's part of their traditions and history and, cultural traditions, the Ant people. So I like to connect with them as well. Sedona, it's a multi-grids, so I can feel personally I'm multidimensionally frequency sensitive to variation and influxes. So I can only be there 3 or 4 days at a time because then it's becoming a little bit too much superimposed frequencies. There's a lot of positive, a lot of negativity, some neutrality, and it's kind of pulling itself out a little bit in different directions. So it depends on where you are in Sedona. What is your purpose? Are you attuned? Are you intuitive present using discernment? Not everything is equal in the experiences. And sometimes my delegation will ask me to go to Sedona to kind of how could I say that, clear the house. I do a lot of clearing. Yes, there's some portal very dense, really heavy, and especially around there's a huge high school around the heart, what it's called, the Center for Art. There's a big auditorium and a huge high school there, and that portion there is really heavy with heavy density, negative being from the lower astral plane, draconians feeding on the children. And I've been there a lot to clear and close these negative reverse portal and being able to bring back light alignment and being able to help the children, the high schoolers, to return into their pure energy without being fed upon. It's a very heavy place, segment around Sedona. Mm,
Well, thank you for
mm.
that.
Yeah, of
It's
course.
it's been a real honor to speak with you. Everybody, you have an Arcturian University where you can go much deeper with direct teachings from the Arcturians. Can you tell me more about that?
Absolutely. So, in a nutshell, the Octarian University is a sanctuary that was sanctioned and, of course, authorized by the Arcturian High Council. And so, as the teacher, directly you are learning. Rediscovering teaching for us is the sacred art of soul remembrance. So what we bring is universal concept master classes series, and we have created beautiful community experiences. So there's a lot of powerful other souls or being people part of our community or exchange their journey, and we can support each other throughout this time and make sense sometime of what's happening. Being able to talk about it with a star seed circle and, how can we open ourselves more and the cultivation of that multidimensional awareness that we're talking about. We're going through so many conscious shifts. It's clear the distortion, clear yourself, listen, and we're here to supporting you, to guide you as ancient ones, recognizing another ancient one. And we're going to co-create that beautiful higher timeline for the reascension together. So the sanctuary has so many multiple effects, and we do retreat all over the world. In fact, we're going to New Zealand next year in January for our members. We're going to be there in the grids of New Zealand, and it's incredible. It's been absolutely an incredible journey.
What's the
Thank you
best
for
way
your
for me to sign
page.
up for that? If I wanted
If you
to,
are a members, it's exclusive for members.
right? How do I join? What's the website?
Yes, of course. So Arcturian University altogether.com. It's on right there, or you can Google my name and I can assure you all of my information will come up. There's a lot of content out there, including free meditation you can listen to and utilize as tools on the YouTube channel as well.
Well, it's been really wonderful to get your perspective. Thanks for the work that you're doing, and hopefully we can talk again soon.
I
Welcome
would
to the
love to.
Reality Revolution, Vivian. Hey, welcome to the Reality Revolution. I'm Brian Scott. Over the last year, I've had the honor of hosting some amazing live in-person events, something I never thought that I would do. And I have grown and changed so much in these experiences. The opportunity to meet so many of you, to shake your hand, to hug you, to hear your stories, to watch the way that you grow, to see your changes, to get to know you. So many of you have followed my channel. It's been such an exciting experience. So when we were thinking about our next event, we decided we wanted to do something a little different. So many of you have found me through my teachings on money, on large sums of money, on the affirmations that I use. And so we brainstormed and came together with an amazing event. Over 3 days, we've planned out some of the most incredible meditative techniques, exercises, and teachings that I have ever done. 9 immersive meditations, all designed to shift you into the reality where large sums of money come to you easily and quickly. There is nothing I want more than for you to experience absolute prosperity. I want you to live a life where you are free to do what you want when you want. I want you to be able to choose when you wake up, when you go to sleep. I want you to lead a business that empowers you, that fulfills you. I want you to live a life where you choose where you live. You live in your dream home. You travel the world. I want all of this for you, and it's available to you. I believe when we come together at these events, magic happens. And so I want to have the opportunity to become a catalyst for you, to join me for 3 days so that we can manifest the most incredible life for you, one that makes you incredibly prosperous, where you tune into infinite streams of money. You walk through storms of money all around you. You experience it in every way, shape, and form. Large sums of money are coming to you. Join me in Austin on September 18th through the 20th at the Hyatt Regency. You can find the link in the description at www.brianscottlive.com/Austin-2026.